Hi everyone, welcome to our French knitting project. So this is quite exciting, and I wanted to just first show you what you have in your supplies that you picked up. You have found probably this object which looks kind of strange. So what this is and how I actually made it was simple. I purchased some of these spools like this. This is just a regular spool. You can put thread on it. Some people use them as craft objects. I'm not sure if they're at, I got these on Amazon. They might be at the Michaels store also, or some craft store like Hobby Lobby or such. So what I did was I took that and then I drilled the hole bigger so that we have this space here. Then I took it and I put some nails into it also. And then the last thing that I did with it is I got this rasp, this file, and I went in the hole and just kind of smoothed out the inside of it so that there weren't any really jagged edges in here that could catch the yarn and get, so splinters, things like that. So I tried to smooth it out a little bit. If it's still a little rough, you could get some sandpaper or something and you can smooth it, especially if you like this project and you want to do a lot of it, okay? One of the things I like about these making projects is that we're going to start with a material. This is just simple yarn, okay? Everyone's seen this kind of stuff before. So this is just a very, just kind of a thin yarn. What I like is that you're going to, in this project, take this material, you're going to use some tools, and you're going to transform it into something else. I like that idea because that's what artists do, is they take materials and they transform them. And if it's great art, we say it's an amazing transformation. Now that even happens in the performance arts. Like we can say that an artist, like an actor, transforms themselves into the role. So for me, that's amazing because we believe in this idea of transformation. Something begins as something with materials and becomes something else. Okay, so here's the project. What you're gonna need to do, I've given you this part and I've given you the yarn. You're gonna need to find some sharp object. I looked around my house and I found, here's 6 different examples of things that probably would work for this project. So if you have anything like this is a double pointed knitting needle. So it's just a metal needle that is sharp on one side. Let me see if I can, if you can see it kind of close there. But, something like this tiny little screwdriver would also work. It's just something that you can grab yarn and flip it over the nail. You'll see that happen in a minute. I also think probably a pencil like this would work. A regular pencil, you might end up breaking the lead. So what you can see is that this end here, if I screw the lead in, is rather sharp and can work, okay? You'll know what that is in a moment. So here's how we do it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna first show you how to do this right-handed. At the end of this video, I will put the left-handed version for those of you that are left-handed. Sometimes with crafts, people will learn one way and the other, and then they'll decide which way they like the best. I know quite a few people who are left-handed that ended up learning how to knit right-handed, and they like that better. But I always say it's good for all of us to try both ways and then decide what we like the most for us. Okay, first step, you're gonna take the yarn and you're gonna put it through this spool. So you want it to come through. Yes, come on. Maybe this is the hardest part of it, is to get the yarn through the spool. All right, let me try it one more time. I'm almost there. There we go. Okay, that took a long time. So you have that. Now, you'll see that the yarn is on the outside of the spool and the back of the yarn, the tail of the yarn, is through the bottom of the spool where the nails are here. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, and again, this is right-handed knitting. So around these 4 spools, I'm gonna go counterclockwise. So On this bottom one here, I will go over here and around. Then I will go to the next one and I'll go counterclockwise around it, counterclockwise, counterclockwise. So I want to get around all four of the nails. If I show you close, you can see that it's kind of counterclockwise. This is over the other one there, if you can kind of see that right in that place. Okay, let me do that again, just so that you see it again. So from here, counterclockwise around that nail, the next one, the next one, the next one. Lost it here, and the last one. Okay, we're gonna do that one more time since I lost it. Around, 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 and there we are. Okay, now, when you knit, the first step is always the hardest. You know, the first row around, just to get things started. So sometimes, you know, that's true of all things in life. To get something started is difficult. Once it's going and moving, it's easier to keep moving. Yeah, I think that's true in dance also. Okay, around. Okay, these four. Now, the next thing, let me see if I can get this. That's pretty good. I'm going to take my knitting needle. You can see this is also a yarn needle, so you might have something like that around. This is a really sharp needle here on the end, and I would say that would work also. The only thing you want to find something that will just easily grab the yarn. A crochet hook could also work. If you want to get fancy, you can go to the craft store and probably buy any of these things. Okay, if we look at this, you will see that there is a bottom loop, and then this top loop is the new thing that I've just put over the top. So let me show that part here. So this is coming over the top here. Now, all I'm gonna do, and this is the process you're gonna repeat over and over again, I'm gonna come in here to the bottom, I'm gonna grab this bottom loop here, and I'm gonna bring it over the top loop. So let's see if I can get it there. I pull it and I pick it up over. And then I pull the bottom tail, and you can see that what I've done is brought a loop through the other loop. Let me show you the next one. I go under here and I pick up this loop. I pick the loop and take it over the nail, and then I pull the tail down. And you can kind of see what's happening here automatically. The next one, I pick this up, I loop it around, I loop it over, and I pull the bottom tail. The next one. And I would say these first 4 times you do it, for me, are the hardest. After that, it starts just happening. And you'll notice that as you go, it gets better and better. So again, the process is this yarn comes over the, just in front of the nail. I grab that loop from the bottom and I pick it up over the top, and then I pull the tail down. Now I'm gonna keep doing that. And again, this is right-handed, so that you can see that the tool is in my right hand, and you can see my left hand is what manipulates the yarn. So it pulls it around, pulls it in and over, pull the tail on the bottom, and I can keep this going. Now, you've already probably even noticed with mine, I'm now beginning to be able to move faster, yeah? And you'll get that. Your hands actually are good at repetitive motion. So once they figure out what the motion is, they will keep going at it. Okay, I'm picking up the loop and over, pulling it down, picking up the loop, picking it over, pulling the bottom, the loop, and over, there, and the bottom. Hopefully you're seeing this process. I'm trying to show it sideways a little bit so that you can really see this going over the nail. And another thing I'll just say to all of you is, if anyone cannot make sense of this in the video and you need a face-to-face instruction, you can reach out and I can help you with that. You can come and we can do a little tutorial. I always like to do a little kind of knitting lesson. So this is called French knitting, and it was an invention, and particularly what this little invention with this spool did was it taught children how to knit, because you weren't manipulating two objects, you were just doing this, and it made a cord. Okay, and you can kind of see how that's working. If we look at the bottom of it, if you look inside the spool, you're going to see that there is actually what's happening is you are knitting a rope, you're knitting a cord. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pause this video. I'm going to work on, I'm going to work on my knitting project, and I'm going to get through the knitting project and finish. But actually, before I do that, I don't want to leave out the left-handed people in the class. So let me do a left-handed knit for this. So I'm going to put this one aside. Okay, everyone, for left-handed knitting. So here's my second spool, and I'm going to use this yellow yarn. I got quite a bit of it here. So the first thing, we had trouble with this on the other side. Let's thread this through the loop. Am I having trouble again? My fingers are maybe a little bit big. Yes, okay, there we go. Not so bad. All right, so again, here's the spool. The tail is coming out of the bottom of the spool opposite of the nails. Okay, so now we're going to do the exact opposite process that we did before. So rather than go around this nail and go counterclockwise, we're going to go around this nail and go clockwise. We're going to go to the back of the nail on top and go clockwise. Back of this nail, go clockwise. Here and go clockwise. And you'll see that that string is going in the opposite direction. It's a little weird for my hands because I am right-handed. So when I'm here, I now will take my tool, let's see if I can do this, in my left hand. Yeah, let me just go ahead and use the same tool, so I'm going to actually get it started with my right hand, but you might want to do this with your left hand there. So what I'm doing is I'm grabbing the bottom of this loop here and I'm pulling it out a little bit. So I want to get a little bit of space there. There we go. See, I grabbed it. I pull it out and I pick it over, and then I'm going to pull the tail on the bottom just to tighten that. And you can see if we come in close, I've created a loop. Yeah, it's basically what we call a slip knot. Yeah. Now, the next one, take this and loop it through. Hard left-handed, but this is good. It's always good to try things the other way. You can see I'm really practiced at this right-handed. Yeah. Grab this loop and pick it up. Come on. And pick it over. Yeah. I'm not demonstrating this really well, but I think hopefully you'll get the idea. And again, if we have anyone who's left-handed in the class that needs a lesson face-to-face, I can probably get you through this part of it. And again, the beginning is hard. So I always tell people when they're knitting, you've got to endure the beginning of the process to get through it, and then it gets better. Yeah. I think it's, choreography is even like that. When we start a choreography project, it might be difficult. And then when we get into the project, we understand what we're doing and we can do it better. Yeah. Okay, so picking up, I didn't do that very well, but oh, I see my problem. This didn't go around very well. All right, here and there. And yeah, this one won't get a million views, this little lesson here on YouTube. Pick it up and pull it down. Again, that one was not very good. And when you don't do it very well, it actually, when you go around the next time for the next loop, it gets harder. So even something like that, I might then decide, you know what, let's just do it all again. Because if you don't start well, it's like writing a paper maybe. You just aren't going to do very well at it. You need to start again. All right, so I'm starting again, coming this way. And those who are left-handed in the class, we're doing this for you. Pick it up and over and pull that down. Yeah. Pick it up and over. Yeah. And again, I want to get the whole thing. See how there's a little bit of this one that does not want to come over. And it might be this yarn. Hopefully the yarn you have really behaves and is good and does it for you. Well, come on, the whole thing. That's better, got it. The next one, and the next one. And actually what you're looking at, I just did 4 of them. So I did those first 4, which again, they're the hardest. Okay, pull that down. That's looking better and better. And you can kind of see now, it's actually easier for me to grab this loop on. So by the time that you've done 4 loops over, the 5th one starts getting easier and it starts all making sense. I would say once you get about 30 or 40, you're on your way, yeah, to doing it. And it'll be easier to get it all kind of done. And again, I'm doing left-handed knitting and I'm using my right hand, which makes it kind of hard. But yeah, everything's cool. Yeah, we'll do that and pick it up and over. Okay, so again, the process is, and this is for all of you, whether you're going right-handed or left-handed, this yarn goes on the top. I take the loop and I pick it up and lift the loop over. And you see that bottom yarn, the one that went in the front, is what now becomes the new loop. Yeah, and then we're gonna keep going with that. Okay, I'm gonna pause this video. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna hopefully have some long cord coming through the bottom of this one. Okay, everyone, so I've worked a little while and you can see that now at the bottom here coming out, we've got this long cording in this tail. So, and I think the theme, or I guess the lesson of everything, which I just kind of want to tell you, as you do it, it gets easier. So aesthetics is a branch of philosophy. And so probably the philosophy lesson for life is that the longer you work at it, the easier something gets, because you end up getting a little better and you develop the technique of it. So that's what happened with me doing this. I haven't done this in a little while, but it was pretty easy for this to develop, and there you go. You got cording. So again, the process, just so that you see, this yarn goes over the top. I then pick up the loop and I lift this bottom loop over. I do the next one, pick up the loop, bottom loop over, pick up the loop, lift the bottom loop over the top loop. Eventually, you see in the inside here, it almost looks like you're looking into a worm. You're looking into the cord. I can pull this a little bit and that makes the loops a little bigger, which makes it a little easier as I go. So I probably do about 4 of them and then I lift it. Okay, everyone, so here we are. We're at the end. So I've worked probably about an hour and gotten through my whole little ball of the orange yarn. So here we're finally at the tail end there. So I wanted to just, in terms of the assignment, how much am I supposed to do? That's the question you probably are asking yourself. I would say if you really want to get the assignment done, try to get through the whole ball. I think that's kind of a great challenge. But if you find it so horrible or difficult, at least get a few inches to come through here. All right, so I want to show you, now that we're at the end, I want to show you two things to do. There might be someone who says, I want to do more, or I want to change colors. How do I change colors? So there's a couple ways. One, I can simply take the yellow and tie a knot. So tie a knot to this one and then just keep weaving, and then when I get to that point, it will automatically change colors. If you do that method with this cording, what I would try and do is get the knot to lie in the middle here of this tube. Yeah, so that you don't see it. Now, most of the time when people knit, they don't like to make a knot, because a knot, you can feel a knot, like if this were a scarf, you could feel it with your fingers. So another method would be, if I simply wanted to change colors, what I would do as I was knitting, and again, my process is lifting the loop over that other, so I would have a single loop. What I might do if I was wanting to change colors is just simply to also add a second strand. So here, if I was to loop this on the top of that needle, I could then lift this loop over all of these loops, and then I would have a new loop underneath that was thicker. And eventually, after I went once around, I could then change the color, and I could drop the orange loops, let them live on the inside, the end of this orange, and then keep going with the yellow, so I could have a longer cord there. Okay, and then the final thing, so if that didn't make sense, you can ask me a question and I can work on it, or come visit me and we can do that. And then the final thing, how do I finish it? What if I wanted to take this off? Now, when I take this off these needles, if I pull this end, the whole thing would unravel. Yeah, and that you might have seen a sweater do that once. But to finish it, so it doesn't unravel, what I would do is I would get a yarn needle. So this is a blunt needle, and it's got a very large eye so that yarn can go inside of it. So you can see here, I've now threaded my orange yarn, and where I got to the end, I would now take this and thread this needle through all of my loops. Once I got it through all of my loops, I could take it off my spool. I could pull that yarn through, and then that would ensure that it ended. Yeah, I could do maybe one more loop here so that we finished it. Okay, so there you go. That would be the complete assignment. Now, what do we do with it? So that could be an interesting challenge to you. Now, the one other thing I want to say, I'm not crazy about this yarn. It's a cheap yarn. It's just easy to kind of manipulate, but you can see it's really fuzzy, and it doesn't have the best feel. If you like doing this project, you've got a spool now. You can go buy some more yarn and you can make some more projects. So what could we do with it? Well, let's say you knit a bunch of these cords. You could lay them together, and I could then take my needle here and I could stitch through with a piece of yarn, and I would have 2 cords that go together, then 3, then 4. I can make an entire scarf of these cords. Yeah. Another thing that could happen, I could take it and I can coil it, and I could coil and I could sew, and I can make a rug out of all of those coils and all of this rope. So with the right kind of yarn, if I was doing a rug, I wanted people To walk on, I might get a stronger yarn or even a cotton yarn. Yeah. So we could do this. It could even be some kind of coaster. So that's another possibility. I could make shorter ones of these, and that could be, I could put it in a book. So that could be a bookmark, yeah, which might be kind of cool and might be kind of fun also. And I'm going to pause this a second, and I'm going to show you one other thing that I did making a bunch of these cords. So let me put all this aside. Once in one of my classes, these are cords. So this is the same thing you just did. It's with a different yarn. This is a cotton yarn, so it's thicker, feels like cotton. And what I did was I made some really super long ones here. And then I made a scarf, and I just, in the scarf, created these holes in a different pattern, and then wove these cords through the scarf. So that is, and then I like to show things like that because that's sometimes what an artist does, is they make something and they say, oh my gosh, look at that. What can I do with that? What could I make with that? And you can see that that can become a thing of invention, yeah. Later on in another project, we're gonna learn how to knit. We're gonna learn this basic stitch with a thicker yarn. So you'll be on your way to doing something like this, perhaps someday also. So anyway, enjoy. You're taking materials and you're transforming them into something else.